Good morning, evening, or afternoon to everybody that is watching this. This is a quick overview of what the Soul Map comprehensive reading is. So my name is Amelie, and I am the owner and founder of Soulestic Intelligence. I teach social and emotional intelligence as well as do reading profiles for people. So this is a human design gene keys profile that I have come up with that I want to share with you. So this is what it looks like. It is a very detailed, comprehensive report. And what it comes with is also a 45 to an hour session with me where we go over some of the key insights that I pulled from your blueprint. So this does require that you have a date of birth, a location of birth, and a time of birth, or something around whatever time it was. The more accurate you are, the more accurate I can be with the information that I'm pulling. So you can see here from the top, it's just the start of the profile. And here I pull information and I put a little quote in here of, some key insights that are relatable to the whomever the client is. So it would be your personal profile. This one happens to be mine. So I'm just using this as a demonstration to help you truly understand all the information that's going to be going into it. And I can consent to sharing this for you guys. So you can see at the top here, my quote says, never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new to change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. So that one is from Buckminster Fuller, and he's quite a controversial character, but it's the message here is the same nonetheless. It's very potent to my profile. So you can see here, there's just a little description of what a soul map is. And so a soul map to me and what I'm delivering to you is your unique blueprint. It is the celestial information that was embedded into you from the beginning, from your birth. So we're going to look at a little bit about human design, gene keys, and then I also add in a little bit of astrological profiling as well to show you a little bit more about yourself. So to start, we have our soul map. So it's just your name, the date of the report, and your date of birth, just kind of giving a little bit of information there. And then we look at what your core design is. So you can see here, my core design is, you can see all of these little shapes are white, they're clear. That means that in human design, I am a reflector. And you can see up here at the top, there's the little circles with a dot in it that represents the sun. And you can see that there's 50.6 and 31.2. So the personality side is your conscious side, and then the design side is your unconscious side. So these two energies are working together to craft your personality and your strategy. So the 6 and the 2 part make up a 6-2 profile, which is the role model hermits. These are the teachers and kind of the hermit geniuses. So, somebody like me will kind of get a little bit more into that. The 6 part of it is, there's progression. So, the first 30 years of your life, you're doing some trial and error, much like the martyr does. And then when you move into the 30 to 50 age range, you're what Ra, who developed human design, calls on the roof stage. So you're just kind of taking all the lessons and kind of dialing it in and boiling it in your cauldrons and trying to figure out what am I going to do with the information that I've gained in the first 30 years? And then after 50, you're essentially moving into sharing that information with the world. You have this very public side of you, and then this very private side of you. So you have this beautiful balance of energy, and so that's one of the things that I'm looking at is what is your profile design, and we'll look a little bit more into that. And then here you can see it has some information. So it says reflector, which is the shapeshifter. Reflectors don't have any definition in their top profile here. If you did have definition, and most people do, reflectors are very unique in that it's 1% of the population. So out of 100 people, one person is likely to be a reflector. If you're part of that, that makes you a little different from the rest of the people, but most people have definitions, and those definitions are, you can see that there's like little lines that are colored in here, and when they connect, those two energy centers activate. So that's how those awaken, and then that is your energy that you kind of work off of, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So in my authority, it's not an inner authority, it's an outer authority. So mine is going to be a little bit different, but the outer authority is like listening to others, it's listening to the environment, it's gaining all this information from, you know, where I sit, I'm gaining information from the things around me. And then you can see the profile there is 6'2". And then the strategy, it says, let answers reveal themselves to you. Like I just said, we're scanning as reflectors, scanning the environment. Most people are generators or a manifesting generator. And then there's manifestors, and then projectors. So there's a couple things. So we'll just kind of boil down here. It's showing you the not self, the most important gift you have, which gate that is, and then all of your other gates that are associated in your sign that are lit up. And everybody has gates, and we'll talk about that. That's a little bit more gene key related, but we'll talk about that after we get through the human design portion. So when you know that when you're just surprised by the things that are coming in. So when you're in your element, you're going to feel one way or another. Could be surprise. We'll look at some of the other strategies down here. You can see that there's some response types for your strategy. The definition for reflectors, there's no definition. The life theme, I'm at a left angle cross of wishes, and you know, the digestive is looking at the arrows that are the variable arrows that are around the head portion, and then your strong sense and your environment. So I look at all of that information and I boil that down as I'm like gaining more insight in your profile to really dial in a strong message for you of the things that you need to look at, the environments that you need to curate for yourself to be the most creative and exemplary human of your own. And so, yeah. So moving down, we have all the types here, and I just mentioned them. Generators make up about 70%. Then there's manifesting generators, and they're very similar to the generator, although they have some manifestor qualities. So their strategy is to respond to their invitations. If something is asking you, do you want to do this or do that, you're going to have a certain response. And it really is this like sacral, guttural instinct. Whereas with a reflector, it's wait 28 days, which sounds crazy. So we have these generators, manifesting generators, responding, and then the manifestors are in to inform and then act. So they're looking at things, informing, and then taking action based on, you know, the decision that they're going to make. The reflector strategy is wait 28 days. The projector strategy is wait for the invitation. And so I get a little bit more into how you use your strategy, your strategic energy to really respond in kind and how to make those decisions. So I'm helping you to kind of move into this state, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So because I'm a reflector, I curated this beautiful little um, image you see here to explain the reflector strategy and make it really simple. So you can see there's this wait 28 days. So wait, and while you're waiting, you're doing it without guilt. You're just waiting to see what the decision is going to be, then sense, align, and then you have your burst of brilliance. Um, I think a lot of people can benefit from this, especially some emotional emotional authorities, and we'll kind of get into that. The authority piece here. So the authority piece is we've got lunar, splenic, emotional, sacral, ego or the heart, um, self-projected, mental, and environmental. So when we were looking at that whole design, um, each energy center has its own an authority within yourself. So when you have no inner authority, you're relying on this lunar 28-day cycle, whereas the splenic, let's say you're a splenic projector, you're going to be relying on that splenic energy, which is very intuitive. So when something presents it to yourself, when you're trying to make a decision, you're relying on that intuition to tell you, yes, this is good, or no, this is not good. So you're really just honing in on where your authority is. Let's say that you're a sacral generator. And so that sacral piece, that part where there's birth associated with it, and you're going to be listening to maybe a question comes to you and you're like, uh-huh. And that means yes, that you're in alignment with it. Or maybe you say, uh-uh, and that means no, don't do it. And then if you're in the middle of that, just kind of treat that as a no. And so that's kind of some of the information that I deliver to you. Now we look at also at the profiles, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm a 6-2. So I have the role model, which is the explorer, then they observe, and then they're the role model to teach people the information that they've experienced and boiled down and really able to deliver to the collective. And then you have this hermit, which is just natural talent and genius, but it's also this isolation. So you're in isolation and you're developing whatever it is that is your genius. But then the others, we have the investigator, which is a 1-line, martyr, which is a 3-line, opportunist, which is the 4-line, and then the heretic, which is the 5-line. So, and then I have little brief descriptions of what those are. And so we kind of get a little bit into that. The next piece is your definition. So with your definition, you could have no definition that's exclusive to reflectors. You can have a single definition, which means like one part of the chart has um, has energy centers that are filled in. So that is where your definition is going to be. So a single definition is going to rely a little bit more on those areas to give them some answers, where a split authority has its own, meaning. You might have 2 areas of information that you're gaining. It's like these little wisdom sources. The same thing with triple split or quadruple split. You might have 3 or 4 sources of wisdom that are pulling in and giving you information that you need to develop yourself. Next, we were talking about the not self. So your signature for a reflector, it's going to be that surprise. And then you're not in your not self when you're in disappointment. So when you're experiencing disappointment after disappointment, maybe things aren't going your way, maybe things are really difficult for you at some point in time, those are disappointments. So you're going to want to really seek to find the surprises. So remember when I was talking about my little thing that I created earlier, that surprise can come through as a burst of brilliance. And it's not all the time that you're sitting in that burst of brilliance, but in that journey that you're doing, you're going to find your own burst of brilliance. So you can see some of the other signatures are success. So when you're experiencing success, then you know that if you're in bitterness, maybe you're just like, oh my gosh, that person's always getting what they want. Why can't I have some form of success? That isn't your, if you're saying that, that you're in your not self. So we kind of go over a little bit about that. You can see the other ones are satisfaction and frustration, peace or anger. And then for the manifesting generators, they have satisfaction and peace, or frustration and anger, to kind of give them a little bit more information of themselves. I also like to look at the incarnation cross. So with the incarnation cross, I look at what energy is from that. So there's left angle, right angle, and then there's kind of the center of the cross. Left angle is more for the collective. So you're here to deal in the karmic collective. So you're serving the collective with that left angle. Whereas the right angle is more of your own personal karma, your own personal energy that you're kind of walking through this world. So the incarnation cross is very interesting. It takes the once we get into gene keys, you'll see some of the makeup of that cross. But I look at it. So here you can see that I'm the left angle cross of wishes. And essentially, that is basically a kind of this sacred architect or midwife into seeing what the wishes are and how to fulfill them. And basically, a midwife is helping to birth that idea or that thought into our collective future, like bringing that in there. It also holds this reordering of chaos. So there's a lot of order that goes into it. Wishes and dreams also need framework. So with that midwife, there's also some architectural energy that goes into that as well. And, um, you can't have birth without some form of contraction. And so here I am looking to explain that and help lead you through that and deliver that great idea or that great concept into the world. So, that you can kind of see there's a little bit more information in here. We look at some of the shadow aspects of the cross, and then we look at some of the light aspects of the cross, where your gifts will give you a little sense of purpose, whereas the shadow aspects might be some sources of where you have some anxiety, or maybe you're overwhelmed or feeling forced into some type of thing that you're not comfortable with. Here you can see that I'm here to, like, when I'm in my light aspect or my gift aspect of this cross, that I'm leading others through alignment, that I'm looking at the new systems and processes that can help us collectively and then help draw out others, whatever their buried desires are. Maybe you're a 2 line and you have some really fantastic ideas and you've got it buried because you're afraid of being seen or afraid of holding that and being the only one kind of carrying that torch across the way. So I look at that, and I also look at, am I honoring the values of the collective? Am I honoring my own value? Am I honoring the value of the collective? Then the next one is a caves. I'm a caves environment. There's 6 environments, or they call them colors. And so caves is just one of them. There's 6 of them. And I have some videos that I did, some reels that I did on my Instagram. So if you're curious about pulling your profile and then looking at what your environment is, I have some deep information on that platform to give you a little bit more insight. I do share it. I've got some people that I've got a lot of caves people actually, but there I have some shores people. So caves, you can imagine just kind of being in this cave. You need some solitude. You need to be able to control who comes in and out. And this is not just like your physical environment. Think of it also as like your energetic environment. So we're looking at can I craft and curate a beautiful cave environment somewhere in my home that is going to give me a little bit of refuge, or even for caves people, taking a road trip, just being in the car, you're not going to get surprised by somebody just popping out of nowhere. Um, that that would be pretty surprising and terrifying for you if that happened when you're driving on the road. But think of that in your home, like where you want to be. Like for me, I like to be in my room and kind of looking down some rabbit holes of information that I'm seeking. Okay, then we have the gene key gates. So early on, the human design it showed you that profile. It has all the gates. Here, I just look at your genius, but we're looking at the full gates. So the green outer portion here is your genius. And these other pieces, there is a Venus, which is kind of your love and relationships. And then you've got a um, Pearl, which is kind of your vocation. And we've got some other pieces in here. But I just am doing a periphery, kind of an overview piece. And so I just look at your genius. And so here you can see all of these explanations from the Gene Key website of what the gene keys are, what they represent, and how it integrates into your profile. So I take a look at that. I want to see like what are the key themes here, and I'm very strategically minded. So when I'm looking at this, I'm getting a lot of that strategy pieced in here so that we can work through that and give you the best information of what perhaps your life's work is, how you achieve that through purpose, how you take care of yourself healthfully. And then the evolution is, what I'm here to learn. So you can see here, my life's work is what am I here to do? My evolution is what am I here to learn? My radiance is what keeps me healthy. And then my purpose is what deeply fulfills me. And I look at all of that as well as looking at your human design. And we're going to get into the other piece of the astrology chart of what I look for and give you a little bit more deeper information of all of that stuff. So here, I didn't fill it in, but the gate 50 is the gate of corruption, equilibrium as a gift. So it's shadow is corruption, equilibrium is a gift. And then the overall city or the higher essence of this is harmony. So that is what I am essentially working on is how can I bring harmony into the world? How can I bring that into my work? And so I do that by looking at everything from both sides and saying, how can I harmonize? How can I not mute it, but show people that, being in harmony with yourself is the key thing. I also have to do this in my own life, right? So your gates, there's 64 of them. You might have an overall theme of a different gate. I know that I've had somebody that's 53, and I've had somebody that was gate 11. And so it's like the occurrences, how much energy is in that gate. That's what I look at. Now, the final piece that I go into is looking at the astrological placements. So I pull just the wheel of your life, and here in the wheel, it's showing me what your houses are. It's showing me where all of the information is. You can see I've got a lot of information over here in the Scorpio, Sagittarius placements, and a lot of Libra influence in there as well. And so that is what I'm looking at. So here I can see, oh, I've got, quite a bit of Gemini. I've got quite a bit of Libra, and I've got quite a bit of Sagittarius. So these are stelliums. You can see anything that has three or more. And I look at planets mostly, the tertiary things like the nodes and Lilith, Chiron. Those ones I look at with a little less impact. I mean, it does have some impact. It's just the planets will have a little bit more impact. And you can see here, I've got all of these pieces where it's showing where my sun sign is, where my moon sign is, and then how many houses, what houses they're sitting in, and what the motion of these planets are. So it shows what the direct and retrograde aspects are that. So when it's in direct, it's just that direct energy of that planet. But when it's in retrograde, it's like you have to kind of review or reprocess whatever that energy is. And it's just a different type of energy. So I do look at that as well. Here you can see I've got plenty of six house placements in my chart. So that is also another stellium. So I basically look at where are the stelliums? What is the strongest energy? What is that telling me? And then I also look at what your rising sign is. So that ascendant, you can see in house one, it's in Taurus. So that is my ascendant sign. So even though I am showing up as a Scorpio, that sun sign is a little bit more egoic in nature. And so that's my ego personality that is showing through. But with my house placement, you can see that ascendant sign, that ascendant, or some people call it rising sign, is how people view me. So they mostly view me as a Taurus. So I would present as that. But then I've got all this other stellium information. Okay. So when I look at this, I'm looking at what your big three, I'm just declaring it out here that it's a tropical profile. There's also the sidereal profile as well. And sometimes I look at that just out of curiosity. But looking at the tropical, I'm looking at I'm just outlining, you got sun in Scorpio, moon in Gemini, rising in Taurus, and just a little description of how that makes me. So we've got the notable stelliums are I just pointed out that I have a Libra stellium, which actually sits in my sixth house. So the stellium in Libra and the house stellium of the sixth house are very related. Um, but being that Libran energy is sitting in that sixth house, I'm going to look at that as well. So I give a little brief profile of that stellium, how that might present in your life. I also have that Sagittarian placement with that stellium. I'm looking at what is that energy bringing with me, traveling, learning, having this big theme of fiery spirit in my house, as well as this very airy Libran energy. So Libra is ruled by Venus, so there's a lot of Venusian energy. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and so there's this big Jupiter energy as well. And then the house stellium in sixth house is actually, it's originally the house of Virgo, and it has some big planets in it. So I'm going to look at the stellium, what planets are in it. So this one has Mercury, Mercury, Venus, and Mars are the three big planets that are sitting in my sixth house. And this one is, governing order and service and health and devotion. It's all in this house. So I look at that really deeply. I look at what are the shadow aspects of this, which could come across, and I do it all the time, as overextending, overworking, over serving, and not really serving myself. So it has this like service to others energy. And so the things that I need to watch out for in this house are doing those things, also being my own harsh internal critic and obsessing over details in order to feel safe. Like if I feel if I can control everything, it's going to make me safe. And so looking at that energy for you in your stelliums, in your overall blueprints, your soul map is going to help me put the most key insights in. Okay, and then I also add in some key insights here. I have some really strong two-line stuff in here. I also have the reflector energy in here, but whatever insights that I've received from your profile, I'm going to put it in there. And then I also want to put in some integration and ritual. So, immediately I'm always looking at our nervous system regulation. Are we regulating our nervous system? Are we present and aware of what it's saying? Are we feeling really anxious? Our nervous system might be um, anxious, and so you've got a lot of that energy. You've got to get it to be calm and to be not sitting in fear. So, as I mentioned earlier, if I'm having issues controlling the external world, it's because my internal world is not feeling safe. And so once I get to that point, and it's kind of a big challenge for me. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, no, I've got it all taken care of. No, I don't have it all taken care of. And a lot of the times I'm dealing with these same energies just as much as anybody else. Um, I can intellectually, because that Mercury is sitting in there, you're thinking, you're communicating. And yeah, it's great to have it be in this Libran, fair and just and whatever energy. But then having that sixth house integration as well is going to, make me want to say things that are very nice and fair and make people feel good, because it's that Venusian beauty that is exuding from Libra. um, However, it can be a crux as well. Like if you're not actively communicating the things that you need and you're trying to control with whatever designs that you have, those methods can really take you out of your nervous system, um, and make you kind of control your emotions. So instead of true emotional regulation, you have a little bit of um, emotional management, which is not necessarily what I would think of as regulation. Regulation means that you're being honest and sincere with yourself first, and then, as things come, you're able to really alchemize them. I also like to put a little bit of inner child work. But if I find that there's something else that you might benefit from, then I will pop that in there. And then finally, some final thoughts. And it's just thanking you for your time and some of the offers that I have for you. And um, I have a 8-week course that I'm launching, Soul Over System, which is to address some of the digital burnout that comes in. I use tuning forks through guided meditations, and then also do some really deep emotional and social teachings, roundtable discussions. It's a group environment, and it helps you to really connect with your emotions and how to best regulate them for you. I definitely recommend those for any emotional authorities. So if you have an emotional authority, I'm recommending that to you. But then it's also, if you want another single hour to really deeply discuss this and get even more deep into that, we can definitely do that. And that is 97. So if you're wanting to do this profile reading, it's 197 for the comprehensive readout, and then the hour, 45 minutes to an hour session as we're discussing it. And then if you want to do a 2 hour session, it's just another $97 on top of that. So those are the things that I have for you. And I truly appreciate you watching this. I hope it was really insightful for you, exciting for you. It's exciting for me to be able to work with people and deliver this kind of information. So I am looking forward to whomever this is speaking to working with you. And I hope that you subscribe to my channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and also follow me on the if you look into my YouTube profile, you can follow me on my other social media landscapes and always tune in to get more information. Thank you guys so much.